or the, wait, are you recording this?
Yeah, go for it.
Like the outcome isn't the solution.
So
like
what do you mean the outcome? Like
so
we're
women are like
just
you're like, oh, women are dumb, like they don't get it. Like men just
Yeah.
want sex, like they want to feel connected.
yeah.
So they're like, oh, physical connection, right? So women are like, okay, I'm gonna please my husband, and so I'm gonna put in a lot of effort, and I'm gonna like
Wear lingerie.
wear lingerie and like make it be intentional about having sex and pleasing his physical needs, like connecting with him. But then they do that, but they're not connecting on what you talked about, like the emotional level of like being open and not just complaining and nagging, but like sharing their honest feelings about things. Then the man's not feeling the connection.
Yeah.
But the woman's like, but I'm physically connecting with you.
Yep.
And so they don't feel like their efforts are like not rewarded, but it's not making a difference.
Yeah.
And so they give up. They're
Yep.
like, well, you just don't like me. Like, you just don't want me. And so like the message is never really understood.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, women are just dumb, they don't get it. It's like they're just not doing it fully, and so they're not understanding what the true connection is, like the full circle. Like women that would, if they would connect with their husbands and let their husbands be vulnerable and open to them about how they feel scared or hate work or. You know, like you have actually open, like you don't shut people down because like you're getting scared.
Yeah.
Then he would feel connected, and then he, on the turn, would want to connect with his wife by helping her with the things that are bothering her.
Yep.
But it feels like there's this disconnect between men and women. like you're not fulfilling my needs. And I'm not fulfilling your needs. So when you're trying to do it, they're not giving it all the way, and so it doesn't feel like their efforts are even useful.
Yeah.
And you're not being heard.
Well, yeah. No,
It's not that simple.
No, I agree with what you said. I guess the only thing to add, or more just emphasize, is a connection is a two-way street, number one.
Oh, yeah.
And it takes both. Like a man, and this is what happens, is women do try to connect emotionally through their stories. It's a stereotype, but stereotypes tend to be based on law of averages, and it seems like women will try to connect socially through sharing their feelings.
Yeah.
And the men shut off and say, just turn around or take off your clothes. And I can, like, all this silly love languages is not 100% applicable.
No. But what the woman is telling through her complaining or nagging is actually the story and her vulnerability.
Yeah, well.
But a man says, just feels more pressure.
Yeah.
Because then he has to perform more.
Yep.
So he's even more in demand of physical connection.
Yeah.
And then the woman's like, then I have to perform more. Like, but I don't understand why. Anyway.
Well, and that's the thing is, like I said, you know, when you haven't hit the mark, is there's going to be excess. Like how are people who have money, how do you know that they're not satisfied? Well, they're always out trying to get more money.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like a sex addict is like it's the same thing with a sex addict or an obese, you know, the obesity epidemic. Like they're eating things or they're having sex in a way that's not ending the craving.
Right.
And so many of us, like me, like it's like, okay, I think moving away is going to solve my freak. Yeah, I'm gonna go find people, and that's really a tough spot when when you need to connect with someone and nobody will connect with you, like you feel helpless.
Yeah.
And you feel like a loser. But the thing is this excess is, well, if you have an extra $50 million and you're still not happy, maybe another 50 million isn't going to do the trick. Like you maybe need to try another route. And it's tough socially because you can't just go out and get a friend and have that friend be interested in you. You do have to go and be interested in them, and then they'll maybe get interested in you. But so many people are like bottomless pits because we live in a world where, like, let me go give you money, kids, because I feel like I'm a bad parent and money's gonna do it. Like, no, like, yeah, kids will love money. I wouldn't mind being given money, but like if there's like a sex addict, like they're addicted to something that gives them a momentary high, just like Cheetos do. But you know how you feel afterwards. You're just like, you got the orange finger and empty heart. And like, to me, like, connection is what I need. And we can have sex and it's great. And it's a form of connection, but if it's a one-sided event, it can actually be bad.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of men, like, they want the physical connection and they're wondering why it doesn't last and they want another go. And it's like, well, because the major organ of sex is your brain, and I think it's more, the major organ is your heart for everything you do. And if your heart is empty, like, you maybe need to change your approach, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. And maybe that goes both ways with men and women. Like, men need to be more open about how they're feeling.
Yeah.
Not like vulnerable, but with their partner.
Yeah.
They need to be more like transparent. And then it's hard to, it's just hard to absorb, like, the vulnerability, and the spouse is supposed to be the strongest, but it's like,
Yeah.
but man, like, that's so unfair.
What's unfair?
It's unfair that a man can't express their vulnerabilities to their spouse because they're worried they might make their spouse nervous.
Yeah.
Like, that just causes more separation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we discussed that earlier. Like when I get in a really bad place and I reach out to you and I'm talking about other people and you're listening, which is a form of support, which isn't really working. Mm-hmm. And I feel even more alone because I'm sharing stuff that's tender and intimate and personal. And nobody wants an audience, or like, that's what's weird. It's like, people want to talk and be heard and understood, yes. But they also will feel alone if they're just talking to a large crowd. Like, it's like maybe a high, like a punk rock, like rock band might feel is they're playing their songs and they're looking out. And when they strum a beat, they see a smile because they know they've impacted and connected, and they have people singing along with them. And then it's a connection both ways. That's what's essential, is like the people will start singing with them, and the people next to each other in a crowd are like, oh, you're singing the same. We're all connected. And like a man in a dark room with his wife can say, I had a rough day. And if the woman's like, oh, okay, I'm here to support you, like, the man will keep trying, or a woman. Mm-hmm. But in the end, if it's not like the woman is like, oh, I totally get it, tell me more, ask your question, but it's not an interrogation. She's actually saying, you know, that happened to me too. It's really hard. I'm not manipulating, like, by validating their feelings and being insincere. It's like, cool, we're like on the same page, and you see me and I see you, and then it's like, okay, let's have sex because we're fully connected. And then it's like, oh, your needs are important because I see you, and you see my needs, and you scratch my back and I scratch yours, or pet your back or whatever.
Have
like
a yoni massage.
have a yoni massage. Like, I think what we've, after years and years of many very highly emotionally charged conversations, it's like understanding that we all yearn to connect, and connection is more of a partnership of two-way communication.
Well, yeah, because like I always thought, like, okay, you're having a hard time. I need to be stoic. I need to be like the solid.
Yeah.
Right.
You're like the guy in the.
It's like a guy.
Yeah.
But so like, but that's not been helpful or productive.
No, not for years.
So here's a good
Like-
experiment in.
Like, no man wants his wife to be more stereotypically masculine and virile and.
But maybe that's more of a common thing than we realize.
No, I bet it's a very common thing, and
I would never like if I were the man stereotype in the relationship, the more masculine, whatever, the more stoic person is, I would never be like, I don't want to hear you complain.
no, but you're saying that when you're quietly listening as a spectator. You're saying it without saying it. Like I feel alone when you're, number one, not showing any emotion when I'm telling you sad things. And then when I start talking about you and your bit in possibly being that connection, you get offensive and you say, how dare you? I've raised your kids. I've made you dinner. Look at what I do. I create meals. Like, I am devoted to you. And it's like, it's so hard to describe. It's like, I know you've done that and I appreciate it, but like, I still feel alone.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And you feel alone because you actually are alone. You're like another person to that person. And that's what, like you're saying, in our relationship, you're like, oh, Nate's weak, I have to be tough. And it's like, whoa. It's like, it's actually the opposite. Nate's weak and you need to get down in the hole with him, which I think most people would say that's the worst advice ever, because who's gonna save the two if they're all in the same hole? And it's like, amazingly, people are resilient when they feel connected. Like, you both crawl out of the hole together. That's,
Each other's shoulders.
yeah.
But just like to be vulnerable doesn't equate to weakness.
No,
But it
But-
equates to like,
but vulnerability inherently is weak, because you're letting down your guard. You're inviting people into the heart of your heart.
but wouldn't that actually, like the way you're describing it, mean you have to be a stronger person in order to do that?
Yeah,
Because like
you do.
you're more vulnerable, like you're putting yourself in more danger, sort
Yeah.
of.
Oh, yeah, 100%. You hit it on the head. Like,
Or, like it's less cowardly.
Brene Brown, in her vulnerability theme, is right, but she's totally wrong. Like,
because you can't just be vulnerable to anybody.
like what has caused me the greatest financial career, like all that suicide, and is because I was like, oh, I'll be vulnerable, because like, and most people are like, well, that's stupid. You don't be vulnerable to everybody, and I am not.
No.
But there are people who say, call me anytime you need to chat, and you do, and they're just this audience, and you're like, holy shit, I just told them where my, nuclear arsenal is held, and they're not showing me or reciprocating the same. And that's what happens when I'm down and I start talking, and you're like, well, he's saying the same thing I feel. And then you're like, but I can't be honest with him because it's his time. And that's kind of disingenuous, however well-meaning. because I'm seeking to connect, and I'm laying down. I'm like, hey, check out my nuclear arsenal. And beautiful mountains.
No.
So I'm saying, hey, check out my nuclear arsenal. And you're saying, oh, cool. And I'm like, cool, I was vulnerable, but 2 days later, you're like, oh, you told me this. And then you start twisting it to your advantage. And now I'm like, oh crap, I don't know where her nuclear arsenal is. So she's got complete control and power over, and she's using it for her own methods. And that's when it's like a complete division, because it's like vulnerability has to be both ways. You have to share both information. That's what I've found. I found that I hate the people I'm vulnerable to, because they are the biggest threat, because they know where my sensitivities are. And I also adore and love and connect with the people I've shared my vulnerabilities to, when they also do that. So being vulnerable is a highly sensitive, and you have, like, you know what I mean?
It's like
That's why divorces are so bad, is everybody knows their secrets.
there's a perfect formula for it.
Yeah. So should we stop there? Or?
Yeah, we'll stop there.
Okay.